Hey everybody, this is Mrs. Summerlin, and I'm going to talk to you about the annotated bib. All right, Jon Snow. Okay, so you want to start by getting out your annotated bib rubric. I'm going to annotate this. Yes, I'm going to annotate the annotated bibliography assignment. And if Mrs. Summerlin is annotating, you need to be annotating. So let's look at this first and foremost. So the annotated bib. Annotated means to take notes on. So take notes on. And bibliography is simply a list of your research. So this is a list of research on which you have taken notes. That is what an annotated bibliography means. It is a way of getting you to look and think about your research before you start using that research in a paper or an argument. So it's going to start with an italicized paragraph that explains the topic of your research and why you would like to research it. This does not have to be long. It does not have to be complicated. You're looking at 5 sentences, and it needs to be italicized. If it is not italicized, you are going to be losing points. It is the only thing that you're going to italicize like that. But your topic needs to be something very straightforward. I am researching neonatal nursing because I am going to be a neonatal nurse. I have been profoundly impacted by this career, and I want to be there to help mothers on what could be the best day of their life, but what might be the worst day of their life, and I want to give back to my community, and then so forth and so on. You're going to need a minimum of 5 sources. 5 sources. Now, for AP students, 3 of your sources must come from Galileo. Okay, so go ahead and complain. 2 of your sources can come from the internet or books. Oh my goodness, a book. 1 can be an interview if you want it to be. If that's one thing that you're going to do, please talk to your teacher first. Now, you might initially cheer and be like, woohoo, only 3 articles from Galileo, and then I can pick 2 off the internet. This is a trick, guys. You have to make sure, and part of being in the AP class is you're going to have to make sure you know what reputable research looks like. If you turn in an article on your annotated bib that is not reputable, that is not scholarly, your teacher is not going to give you credit for it. So you need to make sure before you look at it, before you print it, before you summarize it, that your research is credible. You're going to have to learn how to make that judgment call sooner or later. Welcome to the club. It needs to have an APA citation for each work with a summary of the work in a short paragraph. This says 4 to 5 sentences. I want 6. And if I want it, everybody else wants it too. 6 sentences. It needs to be good enough. It needs to be a summary of the work. It needs to talk about how that work is going to be effective. And I'll show you what it looks like in just a second. So the formatting. It needs to have proper APA formatting, and the title needs to be Annotated Bibliography. You do not have to put that in quotes. Every year I get kids turning this into me, and Annotated Bibliography is quoted because they saw it on this paper. Please don't put it in quotes. You will alphabetize your entries. I can show you how to do that very easily in just a moment. And you're going to always alphabetize by the author's last name, because that's where you will typically start, the author's last name. If it doesn't have an author, then you're going to start with the title. Please be very careful. If your work does not have an author, then that's going to make it a little iffy and a little doubtful. Some of you are going to be using government documents, things that are written by institutions. In that kind of situation, you need to look up how to cite that. Often those institutions are treated like authors. But if you go to OWL Purdue, it will tell you how to cite those. Here is another part that people often get wrong. You need to single space your focus paragraph. So that's this italicized thing. That italicized paragraph needs to be single spaced. And the summaries need to be single spaced. So single space that, single space that. The citations are double spaced. I know that sounds confusing, but once you see it, you'll understand what I mean. Now look here at the rubric. You get 20 points for having the correct number of sources. Have 5 sources, please. You get 10 points if those sources are what they should be. You're formatting your header, your pagination, your 1-inch margins, your 12-point font, 5 points. I have another video on how to do a header. I will link that to this video. It also talks about how to do the pagination, that same video. So if you don't know how to do those two things, there's another YouTube video you should be watching. Accuracy of your citations. How do you write a citation? Your teacher will go over this in more depth. Oops, sorry guys, my lights turned on and then turned off. Or off and then on. So hanging indents in alphabetical order. I can talk about that as well. Your focus paragraph. This is the one that's in italics. As long as it is about your topic and it covers that information, you're going to be fine. You should have 1 summary per citation. Your summaries need to be long enough. Remember, that's 6 sentences. I don't care what this paper says. I'm telling you differently. And you need to have appropriate grammar and appropriate writing. That's how you do this pretty well. So here's an example of the annotated bib. Yay! So get out your example of the annotated bib. Don't worry. I'm not going to wait because you can pause the video. All right, so annotated bib, you notice is going to be in all caps. That's how APA does things. The short title, these two things are the same. The short title is in all caps. And then you've got your subject of your research right here. I'm going to tell you something, and you might get upset. But this is wrong. This is wrong. And I don't know why it got printed that way, but it's wrong. So it should say running head annotated bib. That's what it should say. And then you've got your long title down here. Up here should always be your short title in all caps. The first page is going to say running head. So this only appears on the first page. Running head only appears on the first page. You notice that your page number is over here. Please, at this point in time, double check your font. Times New Roman 12 point. This automatically in Microsoft sets to Calibri and it sets it to 11-point font. I can tell the difference. I know the difference. Please fix it. Even if it's just a number 1 in the corner, I can tell you if that one is in Calibri or if that one is in Times New Roman. I have seen thousands of these papers. Don't try me. Fix it. Then down here, annotated bib, title of your research, your name, Grovetown High School. All right, that is the cover page. That is how the cover page should look. You will do this exact same cover page for your actual research paper. That's why I want you to get it right now. All right, so flip to the back. Here, this is also wrong. This should say annotated bib. Now your question might be, how can I get it to say running head annotated bib on the first page, but it's just going to say annotated bib on the second page? How can I make it do that? Well, if you watch my YouTube video, on how to do headers, it will explain all of that to you. All right, but that's another video. So let's keep going with our lives. Here we have our full title again, annotated bibliography, and your topic. This one's going to be about American poverty. So for my senior project, I am interested in researching poverty. It seems that much of the public is concerned with blah, 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 blah. You can do this. Okay, so you notice how this is single spaced and it's in italics. So we've got content of the focus paragraph, single space and in italics. Check, check. Then we've got our first citation. One of the things that I want you to notice about these citations is that this is a B, G, P. So this is in alphabetical order. Make sure you know how to do that. Up here, if you have 3 authors, you need to list them like this. Last name, initial, comma, last name, initials, comma, and last name, initial, period. Then you do the year. So it's authors, year, title. Please make sure you look at this title, how not everything is capitalized. Only the first word and proper nouns are capitalized in the article title. And for those of you that are sitting back going, well, I don't need to know this because Galileo is going to do it for me, this is one of the things that Galileo gets wrong. So please make sure you know the capitalization procedure for the title of the article. Then you're going to get the rest of this information. In fact, actually, this is a book. So that's why this citation looks weird. This is a book citation. It's a book citation. All right, then there's a summary of the book. If you have more than 3 authors, you must list them all out like this, unless it gets to 10. If you have 10 authors or more, you can do the first guy and then ... the last guy. But if you have anywhere from 1 to 10, you need to list everybody out, give everybody their credit. When you talk about them, however, you can use this phrase, et al. Et al means and everyone else. So this guy and everybody else who wrote this article. It's just a way of not having to say everybody's name every single time you discuss the authors of the article. All right, and then this is about how long your summary should be. Citation number 2, this is an article. So last name, initial, year, this is the title. Notice how notice how the capitalization is still the same. You're only capitalizing that first word. You're capitalizing the first word after the colon because colons act like periods. Then this is the article title. It is in italics. It is capitalized normally because it's a proper title. This is the volume number. You want to italicize it as well. So it's also in italics. Then this is the page number. Now this citation is missing something off the back end. It's missing where I retrieved it from. So in this case, I retrieved it from Galileo. So retrieved from, you can say EBSCO-host. That's just Galileo's parent company. EBSCO-host. So you can say that. You can say retrieve from Galileo, retrieve from Google Scholar. Just tell me where you got it. If it's an actual article you pulled from a magazine, retrieve from print. So going down to the next one, this is also an article. So it does more of the same thing. Notice the capitalization. Notice that this is a mistake. This should be in italics. Okay, then you will continue on for the rest of your citations, going through the rest of that completely. Okay, I'm doing a quick jump to show you something very quickly, but this is another annotated bib. This is actually from the Capstone Manual. So one of the things I wanted to show you was that you could use this button up here to alphabetize your sources. It is a little A on top of a Z, and it will alphabetize everything for you. So notice how that's all in capital, that's all alphabetized. That's a good way to do your works cited, your annotated bib, and then how to do a hanging indent. So I'm going to undo this very quickly, and I'm going to go very fast because I only have a minute left. So your citations are double spaced. Make sure the single, 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 this is double spaced. And it's all correct. So the citation is right, perfectly correct. You need to highlight that citation. You need to go to this little down arrow right here. You need to click that. You need to go to indentation special, hanging. And there you have a hanging indent. So you need to make sure that you have your stuff in alphabetical order, you know, C and then G, and then you need to make sure you have a hanging indent, and you will get all 5 of your points for that section. An easy 5 points. That's how you make a hanging indent. Have a wonderful day. Bye.